Okay. Just remember I warned you. Just remember I warned you. Texas cowboy on a barroom floor had drunk so much that he could hold no more. So he fell asleep with a troubled brain to dream that he rode on the Hellbound Train. The Hellbound Train. The Hellbound Train, friends, yeah. The engine with human blood was damp, and the headlight was a brimstone lamp. An imp for fuel was shoveling bones. And the furnace roared with 1,000 tortured groans. The tank was filled with lager beer. The devil himself was the engineer. The passengers were a mixed-up crew, churchmen, atheist, Baptist, Jew. Yeah, the rich in broadcloth, the poor in rags, handsome girls, wrinkled hags, black men, yellow, red, and white, chained together. A fearful sight. The train rushed down at an awful pace. Sulfur fumes burned hands and face. Wilder and wilder, the country grew. Faster and faster, the engine flew. Loud and terrible thunder crashed. Whiter, brighter lightning flashed. Hotter still the air became, till clothes were burned from each shrinking, screaming, writhing frame. And then came a fearful, ear-splitting yell. Yelled Satan. Ha-ha, gents! Listen to me, gents! The next stop is hell! Then that the passengers shrieked with pain and begged the devil to stop the train. Yes, they begged and begged. He shrieked, he roared. The devil grinned with glee and mocked and laughed at their misery. Oh, my friends, you bought your seats on this road. I've got to go through with the complete load. You paid for your tickets. You bullied the weak, all of you. Yes, you've cheated the poor. The starving tramp you've turned from the door. You've laid up gold until your purse is bust. You've given play to your beastly lust. Yes, and you've mocked at God and your hell-born pride. You've killed, you've cheated, you've plundered and lied. You've double-crossed men, and you've sworn, and you've stolen. Not one of you here has not perjured his body and his soul. So you've paid full fare, and I'll carry you through. If there's one that doesn't belong, I'd like to know who. And Here's the time when I ain't no liar. I'll land every one of you safe. I'll land every one of you safe in the land of fire. Yeah, when we get there, your flesh is going to scorch in the flames that roar. You'll sizzle and scorch from rind to the core. Yes, and then the cowboy awoke. With a thrilling cry, his clothes were wet. With sweat in his hair stood high. And then he prayed. He prayed as he never until that hour to be saved from hell and the devil's power. And his prayers and his vows were not in vain. And he paid no fare on the Hellbound Train.
Right now, you can get famous Ford Quiet in a Galaxy 500 at a special sale price. Now, if you're a family man who likes to get away from the family every now and then, you'll love the Quiet ride. There are a lot of little things about the Galaxy 500 that make it a great buy. Like windshield wipers that are 3 inches longer than its nearest competitor. 100% nylon carpeting to the other guy's 20%. 3-speed automatic instead of 2-speed. Right now, Galaxy 500 has some other extras as part of a special package. Like vinyl trim inside, wheel covers outside, even a vinyl roof. All at a special sale price, and yours right now during your Ford dealer's Economy Drive. Economy Drive means economy. It means the good-looking Galaxy 500 all the way to Maverick, America's biggest-selling economy car. Come on, see your Ford dealer.
I just thought I'd warn you there's lots of ways to go to hell, friends. You've come to the right place. Say, car owners, now is the time to buy a new battery at Sears. You save $5 on a high-voltage 48-month battery. It's only $21.95 with your old battery thrown in. It gives you exceptional starting power in blistering summer heat. Or zero cold in winter. Save now. Use Sears Easy Payment Plan. Sale ends Saturday. And listen to this message from Sears. You have one in there? Oh, but this is it. This is the message. Ladies and gentlemen, let's see. Oh, it's another message I got here. Just to be calm. There's an independent, important notice from Sears Air Conditioning Headquarters. They want you to know that its supply of air conditioners is critically low and recommends that you purchase now while availability exists. That's extra throwing a scare or something in you. Don't wait. If you plan to buy an air conditioner this year, do it now. Sears is also headquarters for dehumidifiers that start at $79, and you better hurry down there. Use Sears Easy Payment Plan if you want to be dehumidified. Now, that was an exciting message. Now, listen. I didn't want to frighten any of you there. I mean, you know, about that Hellbound train. There's no such thing. Of course not. It's all ridiculous superstition. They can't kid me about that stuff. What is it? The pap for the masses? It's nothing. Now, hear a little of that train, please. Listen to that sound. Running on and on and on through the great, vast forests of the night. The ancient, lost, and gone labyrinthine, twisting caverns, the crypts of the mind. Chugging away, chugging away, chugging away, eternally huffing and puffing. Like you're in some vast subterranean mine shaft, heading towards some unspeakable mother lode of guilt. Chug, 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 chug. Mind if I fall in with this crew? Nice, nice, nice. That's a good sound. Oh, that's a good one. Loosens up the tendons. Oh, my God almighty, where it's all going to end. Oh. I'm calling for all good men and true. I don't exactly know what I'm trying to say here, but something must be something. Oh, my God almighty, when are they going to stop this thing? Excellent, excellent. That's the beauty of electronics. You can stop the Hellbound Train when you want to. And you can put it back on again when you want to, so keep that available, will you, friend? Oh! Yeah, it was beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Now, listen, the reason I'm acting like this is possibly... Hey, have you noticed... I don't know whether you probably have or not, but, you know, the train... I'm talking about the locomotive train. The train, the eternal train, the source of all power. The source of a kind of medieval, terrible, unbelievably, almost unfathomable urge, desire to move across the landscape. You know, there's no getting around it. We are mobile people. Mobile people. Have you noticed how many songs that Johnny Cash sings, for example, are based on trains? Well, that's you know, it's funny how the Easterners are just discovering that. You know, they think it's a groovy new thing that Johnny... Yes, they are. I'm afraid they are, friend. I'm afraid they are. And, of course, they never admit it. Never admit it. But all of my growing life was spent, if you've ever lived in the Great Plains areas, is spent within the sound of a train whistle. How did I ever tell you? You know, because everybody who lives around trains has got 10,000 train stories. Just like people who live near the sea has got, they've all got sea stories. You go up to places like Bar Harbor, places up in Maine, and they'll tell you endless stories about what happened one night. And whatever it is, you fill it in. But you know, train stories are quite rare out here on the eastern seaboard because the train isn't as important to the life of the average walking around guy, or at least he isn't as conscious of the train as people out in the great flat plains are. Well, I'll tell you a story of a train. If you want to hear a train story, and everybody's got them. This is WOR New York, by the way, speaking of train seals. Everybody's got them. Do you have a little ding-dong in there for me? Speaking of going to hell, hit one of your hell buttons in there, please. It doesn't matter which one. They're all the same. It's the money button, please.
A soft drink named Dr. Pepper, and to the enlightened no other drink may challenge the glory of its flavor.
That's kind of nice.
Dr. Pepper is different from other soft drinks, and there are those who choose to remain outside the boundaries of its joy.
Sure, and it's Dr. Pepper.
Superstition who misunderstand it, and so we raise our voices unto...
Hey, that's groovy.
Misunderstood for
It's a Dr. Pepper hymn.
Awaiting the coming dawn of love and acceptance.
All right, all together again. Let's sing it now. That's what I call an abstract commercial. That's Dr. Pepper, right? I hope it wasn't Dubonnet, was it? Hit the Dubonnet button there, please, if you will.
Like a woman.
Dubonnet, the drink that's like a woman. Soft, beautiful, with a little bite that makes it interesting. Dubonnet.
Like a woman when she's gone, the memory still lingers on. Ooh, like a woman.
Dubonnet. Some people like it straight and uncomplicated. Others like it mixed with a spritz of soda or on the rocks. That's all right, too. Any time of day. Because Dubonnet is gentle.
Oh, yeah.
Dubonnet. It all started in France. The drink that's like a woman.
Ooh, like a woman.
Maybe that's why men like it, too. Dubonnet Company, product of USA, New York. Available at fine restaurants and package stores.
Boy, the Hellbound Train is working overtime tonight. Oh, I love that sound. I love that sound. Hey, she's going over a grade cross. Well, now you just hold that in abeyance, and I'm going to use that. Just keep that right there. I will give you the cue. You know, everybody's got a train story now. Now, not all of them, you know. One thing I've noticed about trains, almost every time I have told, or even mentioned trains, there's a terrific outpouring. I get all kinds of letters from people, and they're curiously emotional. Curiously emotional. Now, I suspect there are certain things in our lives that are very close to the animal nature of what we are. We can't quite express it. You know, there's a lot of people who like to pretend there is no animal nature at all to man. Man is some kind of a vast brain. And but this, of course, is a joke to zoologists. And I would listen more to zoologists these days than I would to Philip Ross. What man is. I hate to say that. I'd even listen to a zoologist over I'd listen to Mailer, you know, in spite of the fact that, you know, Mailer's kind of the universal solvent of all ideas today. But nevertheless, the problem of being an animal, which is what we are, is that there's great vast parts of us that we, since that part of us, which is the animal, is unexplainable. It's just there. But we react to these things that trigger that. And I think part of the animal thing is the migratory part. You know, we are a migratory animal, you know. We're not like other animals that have a range and stay there. Many animals, the non-migratory types, do have a range and they will stay there. That's very true. The squirrels, for example, do not migrate. They'll move maybe 100 feet from where they were born, maybe 200. That's the end of the ball game. But man moves all over the miserable world. Now, what he does when he does settle down. Now, a lot of men have not lived more than 100 feet from where they were born. No question about that. But they are continually being gnawed, chewed to death. Sort of, it's like 1,000 rubber teeth clams are nibbling on you by totally inchoate urges to go. How many times have you had this terrible feeling inside your gut? You just want to split and go. That's right. Now, that's correct. That is correct. Now, all right? Now, why do you have this? Do you think this is natural? I mean, do you think that all animals have this? Do you think that all men have it? That is true, they do. Now, I've traveled pretty much all over the world, and wherever you go, you find that look in the eye. The minute somebody discovers that you're 8,000 miles from your home, he gets this vague, it's a kind of a strange, glassy, glazed look of almost uncontrollable envy. Somebody is doing it. Somebody has moved out of the orbit that fate has put him in. He is fulfilling the function of a migratory beast. He is migrating. Now, a beast doesn't know why he does it. You could not find a lemming out of 1,000 who could tell you, well, you know, I just wanted to see the ocean. I'll do a little swimming before, you know, it's all of you. Yeah, after all, you know, this life is short, you know. Want to try it all. Oh, no. He just knows that deep down somewhere around his liver or his pancreas, there's a little thing that keeps saying, go, lemming, go. Now, there are a lot of lemmings who stay home. You know, we always talk about the migration of the lemmings. It's not generally understood that only a part of the lemmings go. A lot of the other lemmings just sort of hang around the bushes, make smart remarks when the groovy lemmings run past them heading towards the sea. You know? Well, that is true. Now, I think one of the reasons why a large number of people are bugged generally with hippies, and people tend to put pretty superficial judgments on why. They say, well, they don't take a bath enough. Oh, come on. That's ridiculous. That's only for ladies with blue hair to say that kind of stuff. Because personally, I've never been a bath cuckoo. I mean, I'd take a bath and leave it alone, so what? Then somebody else smells and, he's kind of high. All right, so okay, move down the subway car. That's all there is to that. So I'm not worried about whether a guy takes a bath or not. I think what bugs a lot of people about hippies is that they're quite obviously migratory birds. And they resemble, in many ways, one of the most hated of all birds. They do not resemble the bluebird, for example. One does not find that the hippie resembles, say, the Baltimore Oriole. He resembles, most generally, the starling. Now, why does he resemble a starling? Well, because many reasons. First of all, the starling is an urban bird. The starling also is a freeloader. He does not spin. He does not reap. He merely scrounges. Typical of the hippie world. Also, he tends to be a little obscene. The starling has been known to follow a girl maybe 4 or 5 blocks down the street, making smart remarks, telling dirty jokes as he goes. Quite often sniping cigar butts on the way. Very irritating bird. And not only is it it's a combative bird too, you see, which many hippies are. Don't buy this peace stuff, man. Hippies, they mix it up every night down in Washington Square. I live right down there. You can hear the fist fights going on hour after hour. So don't buy buttons, friends. We really believe slogans, which is one of the sad commentaries on our times. So a guy's got a button on. You assume he's got a peace button. He's a peaceful person. A lot of people do. They assume these things, especially the guys that buy the buttons and put them on. They assume that buying a button affirms what they've already suspected they haven't got. But that's beside the point. We're discussing migratory habits of the human creature here. And he's a migratory animal. But he's also, unfortunately, a nest builder, which is diametrically opposed to migrations. So you got these two things going simultaneously. In general, the female is the nest builder. She's the nester. This is quite often found in many species. The female builds the nest. Actually, the female nests. The male builds the nest. And so there's a fantastic building urge that most men have. It's kind of rare to find a female architect or a female carpenter. It's nothing to do with woman's lib. It's just not that she's not pulled into this thing. You'll find a lot of female copywriters, that kind of stuff. But you rarely will find a lady who, has a terrible urge to take up a T-square and get up there and start sawing 2x4s and putting up the foundations. No, this is not a lady thing. This just isn't. Now, moving in is a lady's thing. The nesting instinct is quite separate from the nest building instinct. And so, unfortunately, you'll find quite often that the male has been pulled into this nest, see, but he cannot ever really fully, totally suppress the migratory urge. He wants to split. He wants to split. And you'll notice that even in their television shows they watch, lady types tend to go for family situation comedy. Can you imagine a grown-up man watching Father Knows Best? Oh, my God almighty. Flip. But, women type, they love this kind of thing. Not you, all present company, of course, excepted from anything we say on the radio. Because we know that all of us are above these things, aren't we, gang? Every last one of us, of course. Hey, George. We're talking about the poor slobs out there, the common run-of-the-mill person, the unenlightened, the non-beautiful. But nonetheless, this terrible urge to go, it's inbuilt It's as much inbuilt as the urge of the lemming to go and head towards the sea if he can make it. The only difference between our migratory urge and most other animals' migratory urge, and this is in a way a tribute to man's, I suppose you can call it his adaptability, is that his migratory urge does not have a specific end in mind. So you will find that most animals who migrate do have a definite point of end. In short, the lemming will migrate to the sea. Man will just migrate. He just moves on. And anybody who really does it, you see, is generally hated. You know that one of the groups of peoples that is generally looked down upon and kind of vaguely hated all over the world is the gypsy, the true gypsy. Because he's doing it all the time. His whole life is devoted to it. In fact, the name of his group is another name for migration. Gypsy. Birds of migration. Constantly moving. It's like that thing that Tennessee Williams once wrote about a bird who's flying high, a night bird, but was born with no feet, so the bird can't land. Just keeps going on and on, moving. And the drive to do this is often lost in a big city like New York because you're surrounded by finite walls. And it gives you a kind of sense of cradling. A lot of people feel very comforted, deeply comforted in a city because they're protected from themselves. And so he walks down 6th Avenue, nothing but big buildings. Up around 5th Avenue, big buildings. He comes into offices, big offices. Everything's working cool and nice. And he somehow can shield himself from that fact of that long, rolling, endless, fantastic and totally alluring horizon. Do you know that with the curvature of the earth, do you know how far you can see in flat country? Are you curious? Most people do not have any idea of how far the horizon is from them. Now, in a city, you have hardly any horizon. But if you're walking along through, let's say, just outside of Cheyenne, Wyoming, where you have this fantastic stretch of endless, magnificent green country, the horizon is roughly 200 miles away from you, which means that you can see objects 200 miles to your left. You see objects 200 miles to your right, which literally says that your eye can encompass maybe 400 or 500 miles on a linear scale. Now, what happens to you when you see that horizon? Are you content to leave it be? Nope. You have to head for it. But you never catch it, because it keeps dropping away. Till one day you come to the ocean. And then you see an even bigger horizon. Then you jump on a log and start paddling. This is what Melville was talking about, and Conrad. Then you go the other way. And you come to the desert. You ever stood on the edge of a desert? I have. Several. The Sahara, for one. And that's a desert. And that's the big time. That's not like North Jersey, even though many of you suspect you're living in a desert. You ain't seen a real desert, friend. And once you get to a desert, again, you're pulled to this thing. I remember one time in the Negev, seeing these Bedouins and going up to them. They live in these low, flat tents. Probably seen pictures of them. And tied to the other side, away from the wind, and there's a continual wind in a desert. It's a hot wind, but it's a continual wind. Sometimes it's icy cold, but it's a wind all the time in a desert. And there are meteorological reasons for it, but that wind just blows all the time, and there's always a touch of sand in the air. On the other side of the tent were 3 Arabian horses, just tied there, and incidentally in full tack. Now, where they were going and why, God only knows. The Bedouins just sitting there. There were about 7 of them, scrunched down by the tent, eating lamb, the wind blowing. That thing. Wouldn't you love to split right now? I can hear a lot of women now quickly turning me off. So what is this nut talking about? And I can hear the husband saying, oh, well, you know, just a kind of a nut. Yeah. But this is such a subterranean urge that we'll never be able to explain it. Why? And so, you know, being a creature with a curious, this intellectual cap over us, it's a kind of an oeuvre of created mythology, kind of an umbrella of abstraction. We've got to invent reasons for everything we do, even if they don't exist in reality. And so if you go to Nigeria, just because Nigeria is there, you have to continually explain it to people, why you went to Nigeria, or why you went to, say, Goa. Every time I've gone on a trip, people ask me, well, why did you go? The better question is, really, why haven't you? That's a much more logical. It's the only, it's the only Earth we've got, and it's the only one you'll probably ever see. So my only suggestion is you better take a quick look at it, because it ain't the way you think it is. If you think that you know about the Earth because you've seen a lot of travelogues on Channel 2, or you even occasionally watch Channel 13, forget it, friends. You cannot capture the Earth on 8mm film, I can assure you. You never will capture between the pages of a book. Have you ever seen the description of sex that was anything like sex? Have you? That's right. You will never, ever do it, because that's also part of the animal nature, and a lot of it is inexplicable. You cannot explain it. It's there. And that's the same way with that fantastic drive, that urge to go. Just to go, just to go. The feeling of being on the move is a good feeling. Do you have that same feeling? I mean, yeah, I hope I'm not alone in this. In fact, I know I'm not alone. Any good Sunday afternoon on the turnpike will tell you there's a lot of people got the itch. And one of the reasons why I like Howard Johnson is not because Howard Johnson is Howard Johnson, but it represents going. Howard Johnson is the church. It's the temple of migration. You agree? If you don't, you just ain't done it. I'm sorry. That orange roof and those sounds. I mean, even if you've never been on a train, it doesn't make any difference. Listen to that sound. That's the sound of migration. That is not a wearing blender. That is a more exciting sound than any kind of music can be. I'm talking about viscerally exciting, not necessarily aesthetically. I remember one time I'm driving along a long, flat road south of Indianapolis. Now, this is the Great Plains, the beginning of the plains out there. And I could see coming over the horizon from the left to the right, I could just see it, was a ribbon of steel. The L&N tracks. from left to right they went. And I was on a road that just crossed it at right angles. Just zip. Great straight road. You could hear those diesel engines blowing off in the distance. Now, if you live in Indiana, this is as much a natural part of your life as, say, the New Yorker lives among cabs. He doesn't even see them unless he wants one. They're just part of his life. People who live among air-conditioned rooms. If you live in the big flat country, really live in it, trains are as integral a part of that country as, say, leaves are to a forest. And they're very, very closely related. Well, I'm driving along. I must be going 70, 80 miles an hour, because that's the way you drive on these flat roads that go through the prairie. When I see coming off to my left, way off to my left, I see a train coming. It's a diesel. That flat, low shovel front. Streamliner. And he was bawling it. I mean, bawling it. And you could tell, you know, when a train is bawling it, because you can't really hear it come. You can just see it, because he's really moving ahead of the sound. And he is clipping along maybe 95, you know, out on the flat country. These trains will hit in the vicinity of 100 to 115. And he's just booming along. Maybe 40 or 50 cars behind him, roaring along. I see him way off on the horizon. He's maybe 15, 20 miles away. He's coming from the left, going to make a direct, just leave it on there, going to make a direct 90-degree angle to the road I'm on. I see way ahead of me, I see the blinker go on. This red light starts to flash. It was about 8 o'clock in the evening, just as twilight was coming on in a summer night. And I see ahead of me, I see a guy in a Pontiac. He's about a quarter of a mile ahead. We're the only two cars on the road. And we're booming along at maybe 75, maybe 80. I can't believe it. This guy's not slowing up, and I hear that diesel. This guy's blowing that horn. He is blowing that horn. I can't believe what I'm seeing. This guy is just going right on. He's going to try to beat that train. And it was like a fantastic Greek tragedy. Unbelievable. That train and that car met exactly a quarter of a mile ahead of me, almost the way a geometric, beautifully balanced algebraic equation meets. It just bap. That's all there was to it. In the twilight, I saw one black kind of dot. It looked like an exclamation point in the sky for a second. Just took off at about a 45-degree angle, and the train just went whoom and was gone. Nothing but silence. I drove up to the tracks, and the light was still flashing. There was no sign of the train. That train moved over that countryside at 95 miles an hour, and he was gone. I stopped the car. I couldn't believe at first that I'd actually seen what I saw. And then I saw what that exclamation point was. About 150 yards down the track, still smoking, was this Pontiac's engine. That's all there was left of it. That Pontiac. Just that engine. There wasn't even any glass. It was fantastic. And I could see that little thin blue oil smoke. And the train was gone. Well, I stopped, of course. I'm standing there. I don't know what to do. And I'm kind of milling around for a second, not sure that I'd actually seen what I'd seen. But, boy, you could see that engine, and it was still hot. It was laying over there in the bushes on the roadway, the right-of-way, right next to the tracks. And a car came up from behind, a pickup truck. Guy slowed to a stop because he saw me. My car was still sticking halfway out in the road, and I flagged him down. I said, hey, somebody just got hit here. And he got on. He said, where, what? What do you mean? I said, look at that engine, that Pontiac. He went over and he put his hand. He says, it's still warm. My God, where'd he go? This is Indiana talk. My God, where'd he go? I said, they all in, took him right down the track. He said, he must be 5 miles down the track already. I never saw him. I got back in my car and drove on. The last I ever heard of it. The last moment. So everybody who's lived among trains knows trains. He can tell you, I could tell you train stories tonight that would just go on and on and on. Did I ever tell you about the time the train jumped the track down in Monon, Indiana, one afternoon, went through 15 houses with people in them, just sitting there having dinner. That train just went right on and on through 15 houses, just mowed them down the way a Sears motor-driven lawnmower cuts the crabgrass. Whap! And it just gently drifted over on its side and lay there. Anytime you want the theme, bring it in. Just bring it in, anytime. How much time do you have, Jerry? All right, very good. I knew we'd get it. Excellent. So if you want to sit here and talk about instincts, you want to talk about that animal side, of course you can't do it. It's a conundrum. It's one of those paradoxes. Or incidentally, what is the plural of paradox? Paradise? Paradoxy? That gets a little obscene, so we better stay right here where we are. Wouldn't it be great, though, to split tonight? I mean, just go. Why do you think all these things that are made for splitting are exciting to us? You don't really think the car is a status symbol, do you? If you're that superficial in your thinking, friends, you better be right down there watching that Ed Sullivan show. It was unbelievable. Something else. What it is, it's hard to tell. War canoe, maybe? Maybe a bird? How long has it been since you've seen a blimp? Are there few? I just doubt whether there are many more exciting sights than a blimp in a high wind. You ever seen a sailplane? Have you ever flown an airplane yourself? This is probably the ultimate in that sense of total migration. Flying, you split from everything, man. Everything but your senses. And even those are kind of shifty and hazy in the night sky with the clouds hanging low over Jersey. A few lights picking it up here and there, and a glint of a river occasionally. That's about all. Sort of just bends up and over.